Thank you, Chairwoman Lee and the ranking member Sewell and the members of this committee. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to appear and address this very important topic. I know we all care deeply about our elections. How our nation conducts our elections is really the bedrock of our constitutional republic. Without every eligible voter having the ability to cast a ballot and access to do so, and all citizens having confidence in the conduct and outcome of our elections, we the people would cease to govern our nation. Just yesterday, my third granddaughter was born here in Washington, D.C. And that occasion caused me to remind myself that we in this generation, in the current era, have been blessed with an opportunity to live in the greatest, most free, and most prosperous nation in human history. This is a heritage that we have to steward for future generations. And having fair and honest elections is how we do that, how we steward this. I have been involved, and I provided the committee with a copy of my resume and bio that indicates I've been involved in election litigation and election law for now more than 30 years. It's been my experience, and I note that in my bio, that I have done so in a bipartisan way. I note particularly that the Attorney General of Virginia, Mr. Hearne, appointed me to defend Virginia's voter ID law in court and in the Fourth Circuit. I note also that I had occasion to work with the local chapter of the NAACP in the redistricting of St. Louis County Council to assure that minority citizens had a right to participate equally in that election. And I report in the prepared statements that I provided, the comments that the NAACP Council provided about my work in that regard. Now, why do I mention that? I was counsel also, National Election Counsel to President Bush. I am myself a Republican. But I think that no matter how partisan our interests are, and there's nothing more quintessentially partisan than an election, the interest that we have in having a common outcome in the process of the election and having confidence in that and having equal access to participate in the election rises above our partisan interests. And I think that there should be tremendous ground for us to work together to find common ground to not only make sure everyone has access to a ballot that is eligible to cast a ballot, but also that everyone has confidence in the conduct of the election and it was fair and conducted according to the rule of law. In that regard, I had the opportunity to serve with President Carter and Secretary of State Jim Baker on the Carter-Baker Commission, and I brought a copy of that report with me today. I mention that because the Carter-Baker report was a high watermark of bipartisan election reform. It was an opportunity for Republicans and Democrats to come together and find some common ground on measures that would restore confidence and make sure there's access to the election process by all citizens, irregardless of their race, heritage, or gender. And that's what we did in the Carter-Baker Commission, and it has been reviewed by and relied upon by the United States Supreme Court in two cases, Marion County, which was the Indiana voter ID case. Twice or three times in the court's opinion, they cite the Carter-Baker recommendations for a strong bipartisan recommendation for how elections should be conducted. And then they also provide that there is a reason for, in the most recent Brunovich decision, again, the Supreme Court looked to the Carter-Baker Commission to try and provide a guide for, in that case, measures Arizona took to prevent ballot harvesting. And the recommendations of the Carter-Baker Commission were ones that the court looked to, that Arizona had adopted. And so I would commend to this committee's attention and the members of the committee the Carter-Baker Commission report as a good guide for bipartisan election reform. Thank you.